The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that 65% of businesses will fail within the first 10 years of business. That's probably lower than some of the headlines that you've seen sensationalized, but you're still worried and thinking about how are you going to make sure that you're in the 35% that survive beyond 10 years and continue to survive long term. And when I was going through and I was looking at what are some of the reasons that businesses fail, I see a lot of strategic and tactical errors that are named, like running out of money, not being able to compete with competitors, not having viable products that the public wants to purchase. And a lot of those are very surface level, obvious facts of why the business failed. But what I want to talk to you today is about diving underneath some of the much more personal reasons that I think that those facts happen and what you can do to make sure that you're building a healthy, sustainable business that is fulfilling and survives for the long term. So let's get into it. Hey, you leader, entrepreneur, business owner, solopreneur, whatever you call yourself, we know you're a visionary business builder, wealth seeker looking to combine a passion for doing good with leading consciously. It's time to shift from a traditional focus of pure wealth accumulation to one that integrates well-being and fulfillment. You're here for a purpose, and it's time to shine your light. So here we go. You've built success, but now it feels like you're shackled to your business that you've created. Hiring isn't clicking, scaling revenue feels stuck, and instead of freedom, your business is running you. You're not average, and you're done tolerating it. That's why I invite you to take my alignment assessment at consciousedge.com/assessment. You share what's really happening. I personally review your answers and show you what's holding you back, so you can reclaim your time, grow your income, and finally use your success to live fully and unapologetically. Welcome back to the Conscious Edge podcast. I'm your host, Alicia St. Germain, and founder of the Conscious Edge, where I help women entrepreneurs get out of their own way so they can reach their goals. So, interesting topic today, business failure and making sure that your business succeeds. I was having a conversation yesterday with Jen Boss about why we think so many businesses fail and beyond the statistical, factual analytics that are out there and published business magazines and such, or online business publications. And it's interesting because I think that a lot of what is talked about and what is promoted and very attractive for business owners is to follow a lot of non-traditional education when it comes to entrepreneurship. There are some traditional routes that people go to get college educated. And with college becoming less, a lot of the confidence in going to college is declining. And it is not the same as when I went to school, where you went to school, you got your college degree. It meant that you got a better paying job, and then you're able to work your way into something more. And it really supported you. Now, because of the cost of college compared to what kind of pay people have, it's really not necessarily the right move for every person, barring a few reasons that you might really need to go to college, and especially if you're in the entrepreneurial space. I don't regret my time in college. I think that it helped me be able to get out into my life and support myself well. I don't know if that is the same for my kids going forward. And I definitely don't know that it's necessary for entrepreneurs. So I am a big fan of a lot of the alternative types of mentorships and coaching. I have got more value. My family has gotten more value out of mentorships and coaching and alternative programs where they're learning alongside an entrepreneur than anything that I ever got out of college. And So it changes my opinion. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel the same way about college when it comes to raising their kids, is that it's an option that's available to you. But when I was growing up, it was like the thing to do. You were the first generation to go to college, and it was a really big deal. And now it's become a detriment. So if you are brand new here, I want to welcome you, tell you, please hit the subscribe or follow button. We put these episodes out every single week, and we love that you're here. So as I'm reading through some of these statistics preparing for today, I just found it so fascinating that some of the things that were quoted, or things that were said in some of the different articles that I was reading, was really talking about the reasons businesses fail is because they're unable to maintain a sustainable profit. They have trouble navigating shifts in the marketplace as the market cycles, as things shift. Sometimes people fail to adapt, and they're unable to go with the shifts or compete with competitors, other people who are doing what they do and doing it better. And I thought that was so interesting because those are the surface level facts. But underneath every single business is a whole bunch of humans, or at least one human that started it all, right? And then the other humans that they employ, and how much business really is human. It is so affected by the human experience and the beliefs that we as humans have. And that's why there's so much talk. And I think why coaching has become so much more popular now. I think people really recognize it, but yet people don't want to necessarily talk about it. And if you look at what these articles say, what is taught in school, all the strategic and tactical things that are taught in order to build businesses. And even when I look at the alternative types of education, everybody's looking for making money. Like, how am I going to make money? What is the strategy that I am going to use to make money in my business? And so there's so much emphasis put on really the dopamine hit that you get from making money in your business, that oftentimes people build businesses that are very heavy on being able to bring the money in, but not necessarily have the infrastructure around it to support the growth. And that was part of what Jen and I were talking about. So it was fascinating because we were talking about, like, what is it that people generally invest in? And I said, well, a lot of people, when they're first getting started, they're looking for and investing in learning, how do I make money? And then what happens? They built the money, and then they start to build the lifestyle that supports that kind of income. And then when they go to try to grow it bigger, things start to break. And where your business will, so to say, break, where your business will not function as well as you start to bring on more and more and do your business more, maybe you move from being employed to now diving in and doing your business full time, and why some people are able to scale it and do bigger business or do it full time and have it sustain them and live a wonderful life, whereas a majority of other people struggle. If we're really being honest with ourselves, a majority of people end up finding out that business is a lot harder than they thought. It doesn't grow as fast as they thought it should. If it did grow really fast, they were unable to sustain the growth, and then they had to drop back down to something smaller, or they burned themselves out. The number of people that I've seen build really big, fast, hard, large businesses and then end up back at W-2s because they needed a break from the pressure of it is astounding to me. And so when I look at, just everything that happens for people, there's so much attraction and attention put on how you grow your business, how you make more income, how you bring in more clients. And Jen and I, both from different perspectives, we actually are on the backside of that business of now you've created some income for yourself. Now you have money coming in and some different things happen. Either one, you go to grow it more and you hit a plateau. Very often, what I'm really talking about is this plateau that you hit in your business that no matter what you do, sometimes it can feel like you cannot get over this hump, and you try to invest in something that's going to bring you more leads. But then you find that those leads don't convert to whatever your strategy is. Those leads are not converting into actual income coming in. And so you invest in another strategy. What you think is your problem in your business, you keep pouring money into trying to figure it out. You think you need some more support. So then you hire support, but then that support doesn't work out the way it should. And it creates more of a mess in your business, or it falls back on you, or falls back down to a smaller team again because you've had to let someone go. So there's all these different places where it's like logically your business should be growing when you take these tactical moves, when you make these moves in your business, and yet it doesn't. It stays at this plateau. And so I think that it's really important to look at some different aspects of your business. Once you have an established business, this is part of why I say to people, like, really taking the time to go through the alignment assessment that I put together, or go working with someone to really look at the components of your business and have someone put their eyes on your business to say, like, here's what you think your problem is, but here's what's actually going on. I think makes the difference between being part of the statistics of failure and being part of the statistics for survival rate. So some of the things that I look at is, have you built an infrastructure around your business that works reasonably well even without you in it? Or what parts of your business are you responsible for that if you don't do them, then your business doesn't run? And the amount of your business that is reliant on you really means that if you don't show up and if you don't do your part, then your business doesn't run. And so as you start to replace yourself, as you start to make it so that it's less reliant on you, maybe because you need the business to sustain you so that you can do other things in your life, because you have other responsibilities. You as a whole human are not just your business. Your sole purpose in life is not to wake up, eat, breathe, business, sleep, eat, breathe, business, sleep. You have other things that you want to experience in this life, other even responsibilities. If you have children or family that you care for, these things are part of your value system that are important to you. And so if your business depends on you to do nothing but do business, that's not sustainable. That's on the fast track to burnout. And so many small business owners, I think, have so much of their business reliant on them. And because the business is small, it works. Like, you can work around it. But as soon as you try to start making more, it doesn't work for you. And so that's one of the pieces where oftentimes when I talk about infrastructure, like, that's kind of the main trickle down. There's different parts of the infrastructure where you may find that things aren't working. Sometimes it comes down to there's a part of the process that is not working, like where you're getting your leads from, how you're making your offers, what you're doing to fulfill it. If any part of that isn't sustainable for you, or you're not saying the right things to people to really get it to land for people, that can be a place where your business is breaking down. So often I see someone has a business, they're doing okay, but they are unwilling to be visible. They're unwilling to do more or get more out there and do more visibly to make it so that people know who they are, know what they're doing in the world, do more connection-based type marketing because of fear, out of fear of what people will think, that fear of judgment that Jonathan and I were talking a few episodes ago. If any time that someone is putting themselves out there and is opening themselves up for judgment, there's a very real possibility that they will feel the need to self-protect. And so that causes you to play small. It causes you to be inconsistent in the actions that you take. And so when you look at it, you might think, oh, I just need someone to help me get more leads, or I need to get more visible. I need to go out and I need to do something to be more visible. But then you find yourself being inconsistent. You might be pouring your time, energy, and money into the tactic or the strategy when really underneath it, it's you getting okay with the judgment that may happen as you become more visible. Sometimes the problem in being able to grow is that your offer is too complicated. In an effort to prove someone's value or worth to people, it's very common to see someone overcomplicate their offer or have too many offers, like so many different offers that it gets confusing as to who you serve, who you help, how you help them. It's cost prohibitive to offer so many different things because you are pouring energy and effort and time and decision making and fulfillment into so many different things that you're constantly switching gears and you don't have maybe the team to support it. And so you're doing a majority of it, or your team is confused as to what is being offered. And so if you're trying to stack in too complicated things, like as if I give people more, then maybe they'll see me as valuable, when really it's about valuing yourself. And if you saw that you solved a problem or made a difference for people, and you really truly believed that, and you weren't trying to convince yourself that you were doing that by packing your offer so full of things and making it complicated, that people would actually understand you more, that it would be easier for people to understand. So there's the tactical things of where are you bringing your leads in? How are you making your offers? How much are you following up with people? I'm afraid I'm going to bother people. How much are you following up with people to actually offer them the opportunity until you get to a point where you've helped someone make a yes, this is for me decision, or no, this is not for me type decision, maybe out of fear of bothering people. So there's those strategic things that are coming up. And then the other piece is really in the good practices within your business. Now, if you followed this journey at all, there's several episodes you can go back to and listen to, but there was a time in my life when I did not enjoy being in the financials of my business. So I was one of those people that was really good at going out and doing the tasks that I needed to make the money, and then be marginally compliant with making sure that my taxes were filed. And then as I tried to grow my business bigger, as my responsibilities as a human became greater as a mother, and things got more complicated, that became harder to even just be compliant because I didn't have good habits within my business. And so that's when I started working with Jen Boss, who does my bookkeeping, but also works with me on making sure that I know my numbers. I know what money's going out, what money's coming in, why I'm making certain decisions to spend money, and is that money spend really a good strategic decision for my business, or am I spending money, which is what a lot of people do. You're spending money in your business in order to plug a piece of self-protection, in order to have someone else do your sales so that you don't have to be uncomfortable and have the conversations, in order to have someone else figure out visibility for you so that you don't have to be visible, right? And so what ends up happening is you spend money, maybe you have a VA, they create a whole bunch of assets, they do a whole lot of social media marketing for you. You're not really connecting with the audience because you're afraid of being judged, and it doesn't convert. It doesn't bring any new leads. And this is a story that I hear all the time, is that you're spending money on marketing, you're spending money in different places with different experts who are supposed to make something happen for you, and it doesn't pay off. Well, a lot of times when that kind of thing is happening, it could be a bad hire, right? And it could be that you are trying to trust the process, but the process isn't working out. And now you're unsure of how to unwind what you're being told should work, and you've seen it work for other people, so why isn't it working for you? And you're trying to unwind that and figure that out when actually it's a block in you. Maybe it's you realize that if you were to actually bring in more clients or more business, you couldn't actually handle it because you don't have the infrastructure. And what would the burn be on your family if you did more? So there's an energetic block that can happen energetically. It's all these little unconscious things that we say in the words that we have, the way that we talk to our team, how we choose our hires, how we choose to spend our money. All of these things, we will actually self-sabotage, if you will. We will secretly, quietly, in the words that we use with our clients, in the way that we talk to them, in the lack of follow-up, that is helping you stay small so that it doesn't burn on your life, so that it doesn't burn on the things that you value most, like the people that you love, or the lifestyle that you enjoy, or the things that fill your tank and actually make you feel whole as a human. That if you were to do more business, if it was to actually do better, that it would break something else in your life that you value highly. And so part of what I do when I'm asking people and I'm really assessing where in their business do they really need to work on things is I'm also looking at how is your business sustaining you? So there's the business itself, the infrastructure, how you bring in your leads, the offers that you make, how you make your money. But then there's also how does that business actually serve you, the person, and the things that you value most? And I believe that, yes, on the surface level, if we look at a business from a strategic standpoint, there's places in the business that are broken that lead to unsustainable profits, make it difficult to shift as the market shifts, or there's challenges that come up, or make it hard to compete with your competitors because you have imposter syndrome and you honestly think other people should go work with someone else. And so, yes, I think on the business level, it's that. But then underneath that, if you have a business that is not sustaining you, the human, if doing more in your business were to mean that it would impact a part of your life that you hold very dear to you, it would make it really easy to accidentally justify. You would probably find really good justifications to accidentally justify some of the things that you're doing in your business that would lead to failure. And so we always want to look at you, the entrepreneur, as a whole human, not just what your business is doing. This is why I think looking at business coaching and finding a business coach who can look at your business, but then also look to you as the human and make sure that what you're building in your business sustains what you value highly is really important. Because I think that there are people out there who give really great business advice, But if that advice is what the coach or what someone would do if they were in your shoes, but had different values than you, it wouldn't work for you. Because if you're not taking into account what makes you feel fulfilled, what helps you to recharge and be excited to show up for your business, and you're burning yourself out doing your business because you've built it in a really unsustainable way, and it becomes unfun for you, and it feels like a job, and not only a job, but a job that never turns off. I can see why someone would feel like going back and getting a W-2 job would feel like resting, because at least you could clock in and you could clock out and you could go home and you could live your life. Because if you, the entrepreneur, aren't building a business that does that for you and it's never turning off, there comes a point where it no longer may feel worth it. And so you go get a W-2 to rest. You burn it all down and you go to get a W-2 to rest. So I always want to look at, like, is the business paying you what you need to sustain the lifestyle that you want? Is it leaving you the energy to show up in the rest of your life the way that you want? And if it's not, how do we solve for that? How do we make it better? And then we go to work on, do you have a money challenge? Do you have a piece where you're concerned about bothering people? Do you have an imposter syndrome? Like, what is it that's causing you to hold back in your business so that we can get the revenue up where it needs to be? Are you buying things and spending money in your business that you could actually be saving because you're running ineffective strategies that aren't converting because you're not clear on who it is that you help? So we can get a lot clearer on that sort of thing. I have found value in every single investment that I have made in my business in learning strategically how to create income in my business. I have found that the sustainability and the long term of my business has come from my ability to manage my mind, evolve as a leader, and to bring in good business practices that are often not included with a lot of the courses and the strategic coaching that you learn and the tactical, like, strategies for how to make money. I have found that your journey, there is no one thing that you're going to invest in, no one coach that you're going to invest in, and it's going to be the end all be all that teaches you everything you need to learn in business. And none of it was wasted. But where I think sometimes people get stuck, where they get their plateau in their business, is that they never make a second investment into evolving as a leader and into making sure they have a really slowing down, essentially, or taking a step back and retracing their steps and really building strong infrastructure, good financial habits within their business. So that the thing is if you have good financial habits in your business and you're letting go of your ego, you're working to be responsible in your thoughts and having the resilience that it needs, the flexibility that you need to have in business, you're not going to have those challenges of being able to create sustainable profit because you're going to be tracking it all along. You're going to know when things start to shift. You're going to know when something doesn't work, and you're going to have actual data to support making different investments in your business because it's based on financial data. You're going to be able to navigate and see when the market is shifting because you're attuned to what's happening in the marketplace. Sometimes we get so removed from our clients and we think we know what's happening that we don't take the time there are people who are kind of uncomfortable connecting. And so they build a lot of barriers between them and their clients in their business. And so they build all these barriers. And then what happens is when it starts to not work, things have changed. The messaging has changed. The mindset based on what's happening in the economy is changed. And they're not aware of it because of what is happening, because they've built in so many barriers to being with their clients or talking to their clients. And so what ends up happening is they're unable to shift. So I believe that as you are established in your business and you have the really good strategies and techniques and you went through and you know how to make money in your business, then it becomes, how do I keep it sustainable? How do I make it fulfilling for me? And so there's that secondary, which can feel like slow. I want to say part of, I think, why people resist to it is there's a certain element of speed that I see taught in coaching on the front side of it. It's like there's a lot of speed, go get it with a lot of urgency, move with urgency in everything that you do. And so what ends up happening is people start to equate that urgency, which is really about living life now. But they start to equate that urgency with being busy, because when we're busy, then it feels like we're doing something. And when we're busy, it feels like, okay, that makes the money come in. If I'm busy and I'm doing things and I'm always in movement. And if I take rest, I feel uncomfortable because if I'm not moving, then I'm not making money. But the reason you feel uncomfortable is because you're not actually quite sure where you are in your business. You're not quite sure if more money doesn't come in, will I be okay? Because I'm not quite sure where the next money is going to come from. So it's this very scarcity mindset, sort of constant motion sort of business that we get into. And I don't think that's what those people who teach you how to go out and make money, I don't think that's what their intention was in doing that, because they themselves have built really great businesses. They have teams, they have people that support them. They are showing you lifestyle where they have the freedom to go do what they want to do, when they want to do it, where they want to do it. And so you're seeing these lifestyle entrepreneurs that are showing you how to do what they did. But what happens is you're taking that energy, that hustle energy, and not being able to put a sustainable business behind it. And so it never feels like you can actually relax. And then that is a surefire, fast way to burnout. So once you've got that ability to make money, you can trust, like, I always know how to make money. I am going to be fine. But it's that being brave and having enough trust in yourself and enough courage in yourself to be able to stop, slow down for a minute and put some infrastructure in place. Work on yourself. Get your mindset where it needs to be so you can effectively hire. Look out for those blind spots that you don't even realize are there. I wanted to take you through this today because I want to encourage you to take the time to go through the Conscious Business Alignment Assessment that I put together for you. It asks a lot of questions about the things that we were talking about today. And it's designed to help us figure out where you think you're plateaued in your business, or why it's not growing as fast as you want it to grow, or why you're not further along than you think that you should be. And it will help me see where your blind spots are. Help me figure out where what you think your problem is versus what might actually be going on in your mindset and in your business habits that aren't working for you. And so I want to encourage you to go to consciousedge.com/assessment. And I want you to take that assessment. Now, it is not a quiz or a automated way for, like, it's not an AI generated way. It is an assessment that you're going to fill out I'm going to review it personally, and I'm going to shoot you back some feedback on where I think you have some big opportunities. Where if you were to shift things, it would work better for you and it would unlock that so that you could get to the next level. So I encourage you to take the time, take a deep breath. If you're someone especially who is finding that you have built a successful business and now you feel a little bit like you are trapped by the money that you are making, that you are in this loop, that you constantly have to keep making more and more money, because if you slow down and you don't make more money, you don't know if it's sustainable, and you're worried about burnout and it's taking you away from people that you love, and you want to make sure that you have the time and energy for what you most value, then now is the time to take that deep breath and go to consciousedge.com/assessment and fill that out. I will send you personal feedback. So with all that being said, I'm sending you so much love. And if Jonathan were here, he would say, be well. Thanks for listening to the Conscious Edge podcast. Make sure you subscribe and take a moment to be kind and share this episode with someone you care about. Leave a review to help us bring more compassionate leaders building businesses and creating wealth to the table. And for show notes, head over to consciousedge.com/podcast. This podcast and the linked materials are presented solely for general information, educational, and entertainment purposes and should not be taken as personal or medical advice or any kind of mental health treatment. Please consult a medical or mental health professional if you feel you need such services. Please be advised that all investing and entrepreneurial endeavors involve risk, and the use of the education and information on this podcast and linked materials is at the user's own risk.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.